speaker this evening, Madam Betty. Good evening, all our members of Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union. My name is Angutoko Paulino Jacinto. I am the regional chairperson for West Nile region and a member of the National Executive Council of Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, and also a member of the Committee of Education and Professional Standards and Discipline of NEC. This 13th day of February 2025, UPSTU ProDev Hour brings to you an exciting discussion on the current and the trending news about the first results of the competence-based curriculum assessment by Uganda National Examinations Board that was just released a few days ago by the Honorable Minister of Education and Sports. Science teachers play a very important role in interpreting and analyzing and making the stakeholders understand the meaning of the results that have been released. And therefore, Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union would like to share the outcome of these results with you this evening. So I bring to you a very resourceful lady who is our National Secretary for Education, Professional Standards and Discipline of UPSTU, Madam Betty Auma, who is a senior teacher at Komboni College, Lira City, to lead a discussion with you and me on how these results have been and what it means for us as educationists in Uganda and the changes and transformation that it is going to bring in the education sector in Uganda. So members, you are most welcome, and I thank you and say Happy New Year to all of you and a happy first term of 2025 to all of you. And therefore I wish to unveil Madam Betty to you to lead us in the discussions. Madam Betty, you are most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Angutoko Jacinto, the regional chairperson, Arua City. I'm on board. Thank you for accepting to be participant of this discussion. I am Betty Auma, as is said, teacher of physics and chemistry, who has taught since 2001. I've been teaching both subjects, both chemistry and physics. I loved both of them. And years back, I've been presenting every year, both in both papers. It is today, the 13th of February, 2025, 2 days after our results have been released. We are all aware that this year we were waiting to receive results of the lower curriculum. I no longer wish to call it the new lower secondary curriculum because it is no longer new. It has already taken 4 solid years, so it becomes the lower curriculum. According to me, it is no longer new, lower curriculum. I would like to begin by saying thank you to all the teachers for having participated and prepared our learners to face the challenge of being pioneers to the new lower secondary curriculum. I also want to thank all the teachers for having accepted to have the attitude change from getting the curriculum very hard to getting it and teaching it. And today we are here to celebrate the results of the lower secondary curriculum. In today's discussion, members, I would like to say our major objectives would be guided by: 1, we would like to understand the key insights from the 2024 lower secondary curriculum. Get back, please, sir. That is our objective number 1. 2, our objective is to look at some highlights on areas of concern for us as science teachers, bearing in mind the situation we are in. Then we would like to explore lessons for science educators. All the teachers in this forum are science educators, including other stakeholders who focus on science, but majorly, it is us who are the science educators, whom the whole country is focusing at. So what are the lessons that we derive from these results that have been released? And lastly, as science teachers in the field, we would like to look at some practical strategies that we can use to improve the performance of science. I know this has been what we have been focusing at, but in today's discussion, I would like to kindly request everyone to prepare to share some of the strategies you have been thinking. Probably you thought about it alone, or you have been sharing with your friends. What are those strategies? If we, the science educators, the science teachers of this country, employ, and that would improve the performance of science. Dear viewers, dear members, these are the objectives of today's discussion. Now, if we look at the results that have just been released, we would realize that the results released brought a lot of concern. The concern is not only on the side of the teachers, but also on the side of the parents. It has been for long, we have been doing a lot of trainings on how we are going to have the assessment of the new curriculum. In the strategies we have been discussing and expectant of, we never concluded on the assessment criteria that would be used to grade our learners. You would realize in the discussions and trainings we have been having, we trained a lot about some of the assessment items that we would be using. Amongst which, we knew very well activities of integrations were supposed to take 10%. We went ahead and looked at the project work. That would take also 10%, giving us a total of 20%. Then along the way, we agreed that the other assessments that would be done by UNEB would give 80%. This would give a total of 100%. Results have been released. And when you look at the results released, we are seeing that project work has been graded differently from the rest. And yet, amidst, when the learners were about to sit, we were requested by UNEB to have the KAIS, the assessment items. We were given those criteria, we were able to grade our learners, and we submitted them. Meaning that the KAIS that we submitted also formed part of the system, the grading system that were released 2 days ago. Now, when you would go ahead and look at the grading system, we at last have seen that UNEB has embraced a system of having A, B, C, D, and E. Parents are left struggling to understand what is A, B, C, D, and E. Probably also some of us, the teachers, are asking ourselves, what do they mean by A, B, C, D, and E? I would like to encourage the teachers that When new systems come on board, very many strategies are brought on, very many methods are brought on, and it takes time for it to be concluded at. I would like us to reflect when UPE, Universal Primary Education, was brought on. It shook the whole country. Now we do not talk about it anymore because we have clearly understood it. When you use universal secondary education came on, it also had its strategies. It had its methods. And very many proposals and policies were brought on to safeguard the youth. Now, the lower secondary curriculum has come on board. The lower secondary curriculum also has its strategies. Lower secondary curriculum also have some policies which are being implemented. I am glad to re-echo that we have had several trainings, and these trainings were all meant to prepare us to embrace this curriculum. And it is us, the teachers now, to explain to the parents so that the parents are able to understand. Maybe before we go to looking at what the ABCs meant, I would kindly request the ICT to play this video of parents getting very confused, so that we have an
sector to a more competence-based learning, and many have been confused about how to go about it. But if we're looking at a 98% pass rate, maybe we should be having a different conversation. But to just clarify the confusion that is happening, I'm here with Jennifer Kalulem-Samba, who is a UNEB spokesperson. Jennifer, it is a good thing that we're having this conversation. The country is up in arms. They're wondering A, B, C, D, those were, grading systems that we used to see in the old system, of course, at the upper secondary level, that is HSC, but now it is now in the new lower secondary curriculum grading system. So there's a lot of confusion. So for the parent who's watching, who does not understand what ABCD and the new grading system and what it means, and they're wondering how did their children perform, please, this is the opportunity to clarify some of this ambiguity that is surrounding the results that were released yesterday.
Thank you so much. Good morning to all our viewers out there. And first and foremost, before I get to that, as UNEB, I would like to say thank you so much to everybody who has been part of this discussion, the debate. We just love the debate. And we want to congratulate the learners, the pioneer learners, the pioneer candidates of the new curriculum for the good performance. We want to congratulate the teachers, the parents, and everybody who has been part of this process. Now, at the time of release, we have everybody discussing. And the beauty about this is that we are discussing the new curriculum, which means everybody is now on board with us. And for us, that's a very healthy debate. And we like the debate to continue with the debate. It's very healthy, and it helps us to also keep learning. By the way, even as UNEB, we did not have any other benchmark. We are learning. It is work in progress. So we do appreciate the debate going on. But going to what you've actually clearly asked, clarification. First and foremost, we want the country to understand and appreciate that the new assessment is a complete departure from the old curriculum. In the old curriculum, we had it was more of objective based, and then we had more division 1, division 2, D1, D2. Now here we are going to the later based. Here we have A, B, C, D. Fortunately, it's not new to us, like you said. We have it at USCA level, so it's not something new completely. And also, however, the assessment goals in the new curriculum are quite different. In the new curriculum, our assessment goes about promoting certain skills like innovation, skills like creativity, teamwork, critical thinking, problem solving. So we are looking at holistic assessment of a learner, the content, and then how you are able to apply the content in a real life situation. So this kind of grading was arrived at between UNEB National Curriculum Development Center, who are the developers of the curriculum, and of course the Ministry of Education. and it was systematic, and there was a technical approach on how it was arrived at. And the whole idea is that the learner who is coming out, nobody is said to be failing in this kind of curriculum because they have certain basic competencies. They are able to communicate well. They are able to apply the knowledge acquired to do X, Y, Z. Not so much, but they are able to apply the knowledge. That is why you find that the key words here is extraordinary level of competency, high level of competency, adequate level of competency, minimum level of competency. We are looking at how much are you able to do. So how much is the learner able to do? And this new curriculum, how it's said, it's criterion based. In other words, you do not we aren't competing against any other person. We are setting a benchmark and say our benchmark is getting to station A, or maybe getting to 20 meters or something. So if Jennifer is able to get to 10 meters or 2 meters, they are able to achieve something. So we are looking at achievement at a personal level, whereby A looks at exceptional. A is exceptional. That person who has gotten A, let's say in mathematics, in physics, in chemistry, they have exceptional level of competency.
Not to compare, but like a D1, a distinction from the old curriculum.
Yes, okay. That's now, I don't want to compare them because they're kind of like a
We're just trying to make Ugandans understand.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So you're looking at extraordinary level of competency in applying innovatively and creatively the skills and the knowledge acquired, and they're able to use them wherever they are, maybe in a real life experience, in real life environment, in life situations, even in the employment world. And then somebody who has gotten B in a particular subject, by the way, it's by subject. So in a subject B, it demonstrates high level, then it was extraordinary. Now B is a high level. Somebody may be against a benchmark still. They are able to demonstrate a high level of competency in applying the knowledge and skills acquired. Still, it's about getting the content, but how do you apply this content?
Been excellent at about
Before, it was mainly basically about the content. It was content-based. How much have you gotten against this? Now we are looking at the ability. That is why we have the school-based assessment. Let me first go through the grading. Then C, that is satisfactory. That is somebody demonstrates adequate level. They are able to do certain things. Basically, they are good enough. They are fair. Any employer would want to get somebody as long as you know they are able to express themselves, they are able to talk innovatively, they are critical thinkers, and then others you just learn on the job. So they are at C level, somebody that is able, the performance is satisfactory, and we are saying they demonstrate adequate level of competency in applying the knowledge and skills in real life situations. Now D is the basic, where they demonstrate minimum level, the minimum really. Let's say if it was getting to 100, they can get up to 50%, and you're like, that's the minimum, that's enough really. In real life situations, they're able to, to apply the knowledge acquired. Now elementary is below the basic level, below the minimum, the basic minimum. However, it is not nothing. They are still able to apply. They still have some level of competency, though it may be slightly below the benchmark which has been set. However, what you're saying is that
Thank you. Thank you very much for the short video we have watched. This video was trying to help us to see the performance level of each learner. The performance level is A, which is exceptional, B, which is outstanding, C, satisfactory, D, basic, and E, elementary. Now, this performance levels is trying to tell us the amount of skills that has been acquired. This is a competency-based curriculum. It means a lot of practice has to be done. I know many people didn't watch this video. I don't know what happened. The video was just explaining the grading system that we have had for the new lower secondary curriculum. From the results that we have received in our different schools, we were able to have learners who scored A, which is exceptional, and the A is saying that this learner has demonstrated an extraordinary level of achievement of the competency. The competency, if you recall, was looking at the learning outcomes, the generic skills that this learner was supposed to achieve. So of the different assessment strategies that were there, it was able to be summed up, and we were able to get a learner in each subject scoring A for exceptional, or a B when that one demonstrates high level of achievement of the competency, acquiring many knowledge and skills in real life situations. We had learners who scored C, and those are learners that demonstrated also an adequate level of achievement of the competency by applying the acquired knowledge and skills in real life situation. Then we had learners who scored D, which is basic, meaning that only minimum amount or minimum number of skills of the required were what? Were achieved by this learner. And then E, which is elementary, showing that this learner had a basic level of the competency achieved. Now, this is how the learners were graded, and this has brought a lot of confusion to the parents. Many people have tried to translate this in their different languages. We now, as teachers, we become very paramount in this area in helping our parents to learn. From my home area, I've already had many parents planning to take their learners to vocational schools. Even when a learner has A, B, B, C, they only see that the learner has not performed well. And it's a kind request. We should talk to these parents and try to explain to them, especially parents of our different schools. We should try to be friendly to them to help them, especially as these learners now try to upgrade to the upper level secondary curriculum. That is A level. They are now going to A level. I know there are very many questions about how A level is going to be performed. And I promise you, next week we can look at A level. But briefly, I can mention that for A level, the methodology is the only thing going to change. It is changing from the knowledge-based curriculum to competency-based curriculum. The pedagogy there is packaged just like we have had the lower secondary curriculum. The methodology which is going to be used is the same because we are beginning to admit learners. The combinations, the different subject combinations have remained the same. We are going to use the same different subject combinations. It is only how we are going to package the teaching. It is going to be activity-based, just like we have been having the lower curriculum. So as we shall be guiding our learners and in admitting them to A level, we should take note that the subject combinations have remained the same. Now, this is a point where you have to understand why A, Y, B, Y, C. A good learner in a particular subject combination would have subject combinations with A, B, C. But where you find a learner has D, 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 or has E, it means that this learner is a little bit, has not achieved the level so much. So when you take this learner to offer such a subject with a D at A level, the learner would prove to have a lot of challenges. This is a mention I wanted to make because we are selecting our learners for what? From this week onwards. But next week, we can have more time to discuss on the A-level curriculum. Now, I would like to say that all of us should be celebrating the success of this curriculum, the lower secondary curriculum. All the schools are celebrating. Why? Because the schools have had very good passes. By this time, you would hear other schools saying, we are the best, we are the what? But the language of the best and so on, I don't think it would encourage us to do that. The language there would only be used at the other formal grading level, but here, each learner has achieved something. That is why there is result 1. Result 1 is meaning that a learner is able to achieve, to acquire the certificate, Uganda Certificate of Education. But a learner in result 2 would mean this one has missed either certain topics, subjects was not done, or certain activities were not submitted, so they cannot receive the what? The transcript. Then, the learners in result 3 and 4, it means that they have been having, for 3, it means they have very many E's. And therefore, when their results were computed, they don't qualify to receive this certificate. However, members, in today, I wanted us to reflect on what is the general performance of these subjects across board. And when I mean general performance, I want us to look at how was the performance of arts? How was the performance of science? Bearing in mind that we have been enhanced. Our enhancement has been greatly tied to the performance that we have in the different subjects, especially science. Putting in mind that Uganda now is a science-based country. It is having high technology. It is looking at improving on some of its scientific services that we have in the country, meaning that a lot of focus has been made. Now, when you look at this table on our screen, this was a table produced when these results were being released. It is telling us that proportions of candidates achieving at the elementary level, that is level E, at the elementary level, are most significant in physics. To me, I interpret that physics would be the worst done subject in the country, followed by chemistry. Now, if you'd ask ourselves, these are science subjects. Now, when you look at the other subjects, the arts subjects, their performance is very fair. And now when you ask yourself, what is the problem? We have been complaining, we are not enhanced and so on. At this moment, can we look at ourselves and see where has been the challenge? Because if it is money, we are being paid, except for a few of us with certain challenges. But now that we have been supported, what is it that we still lack that would bring about this kind of poor performance? Could it be the setting? Could it be lack of preparation on our side with the learners? I would wish that this evening we try to look at some of these challenges that we need to look at and see how we can improve. So I want to, before we can discuss, re-echo that many things were mentioned during this time. I don't know, we have little time. We would have heard from the Secretary UNEB mentioning about this performance. Is it possible, sir, that we play this and hear what probably was mentioned, so we can draw conclusions from there?
In those subjects, as we can see, English language.
The volume is low, sir.
2.7% of the candidates were graded exceptional and 1.6% in Christian religious education, 6.4% in history and political education, and so on, up to art and design, where you have a high 13.0%. Now at B, these are now cumulative, A and B together, and also C, and then the final column is E. Exceptional levels of achievements are noted especially in art and design, where the percentage is quite high and nobody has scored an E. Everybody who did art scored at least a D and above. Then we also have history and political education, agriculture, and mathematics. These were fairly high, as we can see from the table. Proportions of candidates achieving the elementary or below basic level are most significant in physics, followed by chemistry, and then English language. When you look at the column under E, you will see that physics, we have 12.8% of the candidates who are elementary, that is, they are below the basic level of D. And also, we have chemistry, which is 6.3.1, biology 2.3, mathematics 2.8, English language 3.6. However, it is satisfying to note that a very high percentage, Mama, as I have already indicated, have at least got the basic level in this examination. Mama, in table 2, examination malpractice, section 7, Mama, there's been a very welcome reduction in the cases of malpractice. There are 64 cases with a total of 984 candidates who are suspected. This compares to nearly 3,000 in the previous curriculum. The nature of the items in the papers do not seem to lend themselves very easily to malpractice. However, the cases that are reported are mostly in the science practical papers, with physics being most affected. Of the cases that were reported, 883 or 93.1% are in the sciences and only a small percentage in the rest of the other subjects. In these science cases, there is overwhelming evidence that candidates were given experimental results that teachers had done and they were merely copying, and the work that they were showing in their papers did not relate to the results that they themselves had recorded.
Yes, thank you very much, our ICT gentleman. Thank you for this video played. I hope some people were able to hear it clearly. Sorry for that sound effects. That was not clear to some others. But in a nutshell, in this mention, the Secretary for UNEB has mentioned, I have clearly picked some of the challenges that UNEB has identified, especially with the results that have been released. And prominently, he mentioned about sciences. A lot of malpractice has come in sciences, especially physics. And he mentioned that many of the learners, the candidates, were just given results to present. And you know, it is very easy to identify such when it comes to scoring of these papers. This poses a lot of challenges, especially to us, the teachers. Why is it that we are giving results to the learners? And above all, physics practicals, which to me seem to be easy. Why is it so? Biology is not doing that, but physics is doing that. So I kindly request us at this moment to share some of the challenges probably we have been facing, and probably what strategies, if the challenge is identified, do we need to put in place to help us practice, to help us improve on some of these. So let us discuss these ideas of improving science performance at the end of the cycle assessment, so that in this year's 2025 assessment, we can have an improvement. And above all, now that we're just starting to teach for the year. So please, I would request the moderator to help us. You raise your hand and we share. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, back to you,
Thank you
Mr.
so much.
Angutoko.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Betty and ICT team at the Secretariat. Yeah, so members, the floor is open for you. But before that comes, I also wish to, on behalf of UPSTU leadership, note with some level of disappointment the news that we received during the marking session, where the subjects of physics and agriculture disagreed with the management of UNEB over the terms and conditions of work at the marking centers. And I was also informed that biology group of O level, they were able to engage their center heads, the center management meaningfully, objectively, and they were able to resolve their issues quietly without necessarily going on strike against the marking. So members, as Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, we are not very happy about that because government has done their part to give us an enhanced pay. Actually, we should be patriotic enough to offer our professional expertise for our country with without raising a lot of unnecessary alarm over matters of payment as we try to help these learners. So this matter has been there, and again now, Dan Odongo, the UNEB Executive Director, is also showing that these subjects were registered in malpractice. So we would like to draw your attention to this and get your ideas on the question that is on the screen. How can we improve science performance in the end of cycle assessment? What strategies can we lay at our regions, in our districts as science teachers under UPSTU to improve performance without necessarily interfering with the integrity of examinations through the malpractices that have been reported here? So the floor is open to you. Let us discuss this. Okay. Is there anyone who is online? I don't see hands.
You can see Mr. Musinguzi Isaac.
Okay. Musinguzi, can you unmute and go ahead?
Thank you, Betty and Mr. Jacinto, I think.
Yes.
We thank you for the consistency every Thursday. These sessions really help us much. Yeah, a lot of things have been going on. We have seen the science subjects being done the way they were done in all over the country. But I would like also to thank those. I also added my voice to Madam Betty. Congratulate those people, the teachers, all the teachers who have put in their time, because really this first pioneer and our history where we came from, the COVID, it wasn't that easy. So at least we are somewhere. To me, I'll just have one point to make, that the exams and the way the items, the way they were done and the way they were set, scenario based. You have to. One thing I learned from this is the way I saw them. These learners have to start thinking on their own. We were used to the other old curriculum whereby we were feeding them. It was teacher-centered, where you feed them. But some of us, I will not say I'm out, some of us who didn't follow the advice from the UNEB and those people who were setting the items. We would think, or I would think that if we are to move on, would now look at strategies of making these students start thinking on their own. A learner reads the scenario, reads the item, he gets time to interpret it in whichever subject, if it is ICT, if it is biology, And to internalize this scenario, the learner has to be exposed to a lot of fields whereby he can pick some of these responses that they are asking for. Because truth be told, if you are not steady, most of these questions can also defeat us teachers. That's the truth. So if a learner is exposed, we should start thinking about how can a learner read this whichever topic, whichever subject, interpret it, and after interpreting it, then find a solution or find a response that really fits the question. It also goes back to the elements of construct, that each of these subjects has got elements of constructs. I think we are used to those terms, element of construct. We don't know what happened at UNEB, who was marking or whatever. Maybe some of the people here went there and marked. But what I know, we were guided that each of these items, they were elements of construct, and then they would use that to assess. So if we follow guidelines and also keep on updating one another through these platforms, I think we can reach somewhere. For me, I still have hope. This is just the beginning. But exposure, and since I'm an ICT teacher, I'm looking at integrating ICT in our classes. What is the teacher in the other school doing? Let me download this video, like this session that is going on. If the session is going on, we are now 26, and we know you are very many. There are many people who are going to look at these links. They are not going to watch anything. If we can download this, and when you go back to your schools, whoever is representing the schools here, you get a chance to talk to your director of studies or the department head of sciences. Let us have a chance to play these videos so that we also enrich ourselves, remind ourselves, So all in all, I'm thinking about exposure, integrating ICT, there are many tools outside there in ICT, whereby you can even conduct a practical physics, whatever, in using just a computer. So they're outside there, and we have had people come here on session. For me, I spare most of my time. I say every Thursday, let me go and learn, so that I enrich myself, and I call upon all of us to give time to ourselves, so that we know what to do in schools, and we are exposed. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Musinguzi. Is there any other member whose hands are up? Madam Betty, I'm using my smartphone. I can't see the hands very clearly because I'm not using the laptop. You may remind me if you see a hand that is up.
Dale?
Yes? Who is there? Can you kindly unmute and make your submission?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening, Dale.
This is Dev. I'm from Masaka.
Yes.
But now, however much we are struggling to see that our science subjects move smoothly as expected, we are having challenges whereby some head teachers in villages are not doing the needful, most especially collaborating with us to get the resources to use during learning and teaching process. For them, they feel that whatever is requested should not be given to teachers because actually my point is about resources, whereby head teachers are so adamant they don't want to support us as far as resources are concerned. I submit. Thank you.
Okay. That is the resources for effective teaching and learning, according to Dale. Yes. Going forward, members, you can also suggest.
As we wait for Jacinto.
Yes.
I go on as we wait for others to come on board. I have not seen any hand again raised up. Oh, there is Teacher William.
Yeah. Yes, William, can you unmute and make your submission?
Thank you so much. Good evening, members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm William. I'm calling Kumi. To this discussion, I want first of all to thank UPSTU for always making sure and ensuring that this program continues, whether we are in a full attendance or not, but at least something is discussed and presented. My point on the discussion today is one. My submission is one. There is a delayed submission, training of teachers on handling the new curriculum. Remember, in the first place, when they introduced the new lower secondary curriculum, there was a lot of confusion and all that. People didn't have clear content of what to be presented to the learners. That was one. Two, the examining bodies, including UNEB, took their time to train, especially the ones they call now item setters. Have them acquainted with the items and train them on how it is supposed to be scored and all that detail. Then three, there was no clarification on what content is supposed to be for science subjects, what content was supposed to be tested when it comes to project, the practical bit of it, and how learners were supposed to present. This all came late. For us who are in these ends, learners really learned on how to handle practicals in second term, just after mocks. So with this, I don't think I would see learners actually performing better, but we tried, and for our case, all learners passed according to the new grade. So therefore, I think there was a gap between UNEB and then the NCDC in the coming up and guiding teachers on how to handle the new curriculum. So I would request maybe through UPSTU, UNEP should come in, train teachers early enough. These elements of construct, I see gaps. Teachers do not have all the detail to guide us on one, guiding us on coming up with an item, coming up with a marking guide, and how to score. So this knowledge is required for sure. I think UPSTU, I would ask you maybe in one session, people should be taken through on how to come up with an item, score it, and all that. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, William from Kumi. We are taking that up as a Committee of Education. Madam Betty is here. We shall do the needful and engage in further discussions with the leadership of UPSTU about these concerns of the science teachers. Any other submission from another member today? We need a lot of feedback from you.
Isaac is on.
Yeah, Isaac, if you're there, please
Isaac.
Unmute and submit.
So thank you, members. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You're speaking to Taro Isaac from Kanyantorogo SS in Kanungu district. To add on the voices of my colleagues, one of the major issues we had was late training of teachers. And surely maybe UNEB was not yet conversant, but the trainings we would get with NCDC were different. You would see people misfiring. One of NCDC talks about this, the one of UNEB talks about this, and it would leave teachers in suspense. And when it came to our rural schools, we would get these trainings late. For example, like by the time we are starting registration, they came, I think, 3 weeks to the deadline of registration in our district, and it was now a very big task. We had requested for the head teachers and the director of studies plus the ICT teachers, leaving behind the teachers who are majority the ones implementing this. So if at least through our association, maybe they could bring these services closer, because they aim much to the urban centers and leave alone the rural centers, and it affects us most because most of the schools are in our rural areas. And secondly, they most times they call head teachers, and to be true to you, head teachers are not the ones who implement these policies to the learners. Most of our head teachers, one, if they are not, sorry to say this, from the humanities, they are less concerned about what takes place. For them, theirs is to build their CVs and their offices. So you find most of the people handling this are either in the ICT department or in the science department. So they call for workshops for teachers, in most cases leaving behind those who implement and do the real work. So how I wish in most cases they integrate and have the real implementers of the policies they bring on board. But still, we saw the executive director talk about how the science subjects were performed, and for real, when I check in our district, you find that all the A's are coming from fine art, are coming from these optional subjects. But when it comes to science subjects, it became a challenge. And I think for us in this area of Kanung, that was the major problem: sensitization, workshops, and still I encourage maybe to have representatives from our region, but we have a challenge whereby if I check in the usual on Thursdays, the participants, you find that there are one or none of the participants from our region. I don't know the reason, but I call upon cooperation, the association. Wish you nice deliberations.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Isaac. That submission, this is all going towards a late intervention from UNEB and NCDC. Yes. Any other submission from members online? Now, Madam Betty. Yes. As we wait for more members to come in, members, are we together? Madam Betty, are you there?
I am there. I was telling you, I see the Vice National Treasurer, Mr. Kelly Jacob, has been raising his hand and wanted to say something. I was kind of requesting we give him the last to say something.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Kelly Jacob, can you kindly submit?
Hello, thank you very much for the forum.
Yeah.
My concern is about the low participation of this is a very good program. I don't know how we can make it so that more members join this program. I'm seeing we are only 26. I joined very late. I was driving. How can we make it so that we have more teachers join this program every Thursday? That's my concern. Hello?
Yes, we are getting you. We are getting you. So maybe you complete your submission, then we shall make a comment about that. Mr. Okello, is that all?
I think he's done.
Hello? Yeah. Now, Madam Betty, the challenge we have here is that someone talked about mindset change of our science teachers, despite even this enhancement. Even during the ADC of 2024 at Knockview Hotel in Ntinda, Kampala, some delegates raised this matter that some members are saying they don't have data and maybe possibly they wanted UPSTU to buy for them data. So this is not really expected of the class of officers we have, like us, called the scientists in this country. And this mindset here, if we don't change this curriculum here, it will be difficult for us to manage it. And this may provoke government, and we don't know. Decisions can change anytime. These political decisions can change anytime. So me, as the moderator today, I would like to use the few ambassadors who are online here to reach out to the science teachers. Let us embrace change. Let us embrace technology, because these ICT tools is supposed to bring us together. If really we were serious, we would be having thousands of science teachers online, and we would be putting our heads together. Even this matter of subject strategies, we could even break this ProDev Hour into subjects. Like one time, physics teachers would be discussing physics. What can we do? Chemistry, mathematics, biology separately, so that we can be able to do benchmarking and share experiences across, so that we improve on this performance. So, Madam Betty, that is the concern that we need to bring forward through UPSTU. We must wake up our science teachers to embrace change and to spend on their professional development. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacinto. Thank you, all those who have aired out some of the views they had. Thank you for those who didn't have the opportunity. I know at least each of us have something to say, because this is the just cause that we have to, go through for us to move to a greater height. Thank you very much, Isaac, for the insights you have given us. Isaac has recognized that we need to understand the elements of constructs. The elements of constructs for the different subjects are different. For physics also is different, for biology is different. And these elements of constructs are areas where assessments are coming from. So we are encouraged today to get back and understand elements of constructs. I want to thank SESAMAT as a program. SESAMAT is also trying very much to bring on a better understanding about elements of constructs by the different subjects that we have. Let us advise them. Let us use the materials they have given us to embrace what it is. Particularly for physics, we have been guided on what to do, especially on the practical paper. The practical paper, the procedures we're supposed to use has already been given, and that is exactly what UNEB required. The learner is supposed to come up with the aim of the experiment, the hypothesis, and then goes on to making reports. So I want to encourage us this evening that as William from Kumi, Kanungu, was saying, not Kumi, William said we had delayed trainings. Trainings by UNEB, trainings by NCDC, sometimes might have not reached your area. And members, this is the reason why we are having this forum of professional development hour. It's the reason why we are picking out things one by one, so that we are able to share it and internalize it to help us improve on the teaching strategies that we have. So I would like to encourage that at even our school level, we can organize departmental discussions on some of these trainings that have already gone by. That is how we can. we realize that some of us are sent for trainings. After training, they come back and sit. They sit like they have not gone for a training. The purpose you are selected by your school to go for a particular training is for you to come back and train the others who have not had the opportunities. And this is the reason why you'd find that others are able to perform better in certain areas than others. So I want to urge us this evening, let us learn to share the knowledge, share the skills that we have. I also want to thank Isaac for talking about ICT integrations in our teaching. Now, some of us have the smartphones. We do not know that a lot of information is there in the smartphone that can enable you teach effectively in the classrooms, especially the activities that we look for. We know that it's supposed to be scenario-based. How do you formulate those scenarios? You can look for videos in YouTube from your phone and play it to the learners. That will, tickle their mind to think along what you want. These videos are there. When you type them on, it will play, and if you play it to them, you are done. So that this issue of delayed training, because now no one again is going to start training you. We now have to train ourselves. And that is why I am saying that on this forum, if you have any topic of interest and you feel we should share it, professional development hour for our teachers has come to stay. We should use it very well. And even on those topics, some of us here are trainers. If you know how to train on a particular topic, please come on board and request to be given one Thursday so that we are able to train others. But also together here, our Deputy National Treasurer, Mr. Kello Jacob, is seeing that we are very few. Every Thursday, we are very few. Almost the same people are the same people who come to what? To listen to this. Now, whom are we deliberating to? We have brought this program on board, but again, we are not willing to embrace it. So we should be doing something to encourage others to come on board and listen. This is my advice. Let us, members, desist from feeling complicated. Some of us want to be very complicated in our subject areas. We want to make people feel that without us, they cannot do. We want to make learners feel that the subject is very difficult. But if we stop being complicated and only look at the achievements of the content we have, we look at imparting the generic skills in our learners, all these challenges we are having is going to be a history. Let us try as much as possible to promote the interest of the learners in the different areas that we have. We should try to make the subject as simple as possible. I know that the subject textbooks we have been given is not adequate enough. And some of us are relying only on those textbooks. I want to say the textbooks that have been distributed to schools by Ministry of Education through NCDC are only textbooks to guide us in the teaching. They are only to tell us that this is the area you should cover, this one you don't cover. But our old textbooks there are very important. If we use them, the concepts will be married to the activities that we have, and we find that the subject is enriching. I went and scored physics. You would realize that the assessments that was made for physics required a lot of knowledge from the learners. If these learners do not have a deeper understanding of what was being assessed, I'm very sure is the reason why we have very many E's in physics. So let us try to enrich the subject we have. This is when we would expect quality presentation of the different assessments that is going to be given by the learners. No one is a bag of knowledge, dear teachers. No one is a bag of knowledge. If a friend comes to consult you on a certain area, please give your time. Give that person whatever he or she would require, irrespective of whether he's a male or a female. And when you are being consulted, doesn't mean you're the best. You should know that each of us have special abilities. Just like our learners do, they also have special abilities. You may be good at something and it may be, better in another one. If I share it with you, you share yours with mine. Both of us will be what? Will be better. And let us focus on practical subjects. Gone are those days when we would wait, when the learners reach senior 4, then you begin to introduce a practical. Practicals at the moment should be introduced as early as senior 1. We are saying this is a competency-based curriculum. Practical activities go hand in hand with the lesson, the sessions that you have. How comes you wait up to senior 4 and begin to introduce this? Let us introduce them the concepts early so that the learners are able to practice. By the time we are presenting them, they are acquainted with what they are supposed to do. The learners the pioneers of last year suffered this confusion that was echoed by one of us here, that some of the things we were supposed to do for the learners, we also didn't know up to the dying minute. Now, the opportunity here has come. The exams they have done, the assessment they have done for last year has opened our eyes, have indicated to us areas where we are supposed to concentrate on. Let us now concentrate. Let us give the right materials to the learners, and let us try to have syllabus coverage before. Now, when we mention about syllabus coverage, I remind myself that I am a science teacher who is needed by about 6 to 7 schools. I don't want to discourage part-timing, but I want to say, we always go for part-timing in other schools and forget that we have duties and obligations in our mother schools. I would advise that for you, if you have the energy to part-time, at this material time, with this competency-based curriculum, have only 2 schools, if I am to advise nationally. Have only 2 schools so that you are able to concentrate. I say this knowing that the science teachers are few in the country and many schools have been opened. We are not adequate enough. So do not go beyond 2. When you go beyond 2, you now become inefficient. You become ineffective, because you will not have time for lesson preparation. With competency-based curriculum, there is no way you're going to jump out of your car, you're going to jump from your bicycle, you're going to walk to school when you have not prepared, and you expect to deliver very well. It needs a lot of preparation. That is when the concepts can be easily understood by the learners. So I would like to encourage us to have adequate preparations and deliver the right messages to the right learners. The sky will be the limit. It is our expectation as a union that this 2025, since it's going to be the second time we're doing this assessment, we would expect good performance, good improvement in the science subjects. And I want to remind you, dear members, that we are not yet forgotten by the different stakeholders in the education sector and other sectors, mention them, that we have been given money. We should therefore be working to show them that the money that was given to us was not for fun. We have an obligation that we have to meet. And this discussion may not end at this moment, but I would like to thank you once again for giving me this opportunity this evening to share with you. I want to thank all of you who have participated. I have seen many people who have joined us today, and I want to say that thank you. Please be our ambassadors to the friends who are still hesitating to come. There was a comment here, someone says that members are saying UPSTU should be buying them data for this. I kind of did not hear it very well, but if UPSTU has already struggled for us up to this far, And this is a professional development, not for UPSTU, but for individual. I would like to encourage that each of us join this. Let's buy it. It's simple. Even that 1,000 shillings is enough to help you go through this 1 hour. So it is my humble request and prayer that in the next meeting, we are going to be many. I would like to take back to the moderator, Mr. Angutoko Paulino. I remain yours, Betty Auma, the National Secretary for Education, Professional Standards and Discipline of Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union. See you next time. Thank you very much. Yes,
Thank you so
Paulino.
much. Yes, thank you so much, Madam Betty, for leading these discussions this evening. And thank you, Rogers, from the UPSTU Secretariat, the IT department. Members, there is something that I would like to say before we close. When you look at these results that have been released, and you look at those columns of A, B, C, D, I also see a big number of A's have been coming out of project results. Take your time and observe. Also, UNEB officer who was on that video that was played said, as UNEB, they are also learning. They are also learning. And therefore, we would like to emphasize to all science teachers to use practical approach to teaching and learning of science. And these projects have to be developed. We need to support our learners so that they should be able to excel in the projects. Because if they get a good number of A's in the project, it is going to build their skills, their knowledge and skills. And these are what we call the employable skills that the employers out there in the factories, in the business community, in the entrepreneurship, that is what they are looking for. So when these learners have good results with good A's in project work, they will be on high demand and they will be marketable and they will make a future out of the work we do for them in the schools. So we want to thank you so much. The few who have been online, I thank Madam Betty, I thank our national chair, Mr. Elong Vincent, and our General Secretary, Mr. Aaron Mugaiga, for giving us this platform so that we can interact with the science teachers. Thank you so much. I feel now we can close this, and we thank Government of Uganda for giving us the enhancement, but let us work hard to defend this enhancement in the year 2025 as Betty has appealed. Thank you so much, team. With this, I want to say that we close the ProDev Hour for today, Thursday, 13th February 2025. Good night.